Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever?
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is Dialect. To learn how we generate our story playing the game of Dialect, go check out our Dialect primer that should be coming out around the time this episode comes out, because this is the first time we're playing it on the show. Our humble players, myself, John Holt, with me,
Ken Breeze, what's up?
returning guest.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Hercs.
All right, welcome back, Kelsey. And another returning guest.
Hi, I'm Pat Cartelli.
Not done yet, though. A new guest.
Hi, I'm Iris Explosion.
So where you have 5 players, I think this has only happened one other time.
One other time.
All right. So Dialect is a game about language dying and being an isolated community whose language is going to die with them, effectively. Yeah. We are going to start by creating our isolation. So we will, as a group, determine what our backdrop is. Sing the Earth Electric. Harumph. If I were to abandon a planet, which I would never do, by the way, I'd at least want to hear from it once in a while. Maybe send a message or two. Or flowers. Gosh, it's been forever since I've been to one of those. No use kidding myself. We haven't detected a shred of organic life on Earth for at least 100 years. The humans left, but they needed something done in their wake. They repurposed a crew of autovacs, roto-harvesters, really anything that could fit an AI module and lend a siliconoid limb.
Robots!
Yeah, a scarcely compatible band of machines manufactured from all corners of the world and brought together to accomplish this one task. At any rate, this ball of dirt is ours now, and without the humans, we'd have had more time to interface with each other. The experience has been, let's say, illuminating.
Yeah, robots.
Robots! Yay! I'm so excited.
This is going to get so cool.
What we're going to do next is generate our aspects. So there are 3 aspects to this society in this world, and those will be the corner pin for our characters, for our language interactions. That'll be the basis at which our scenes are built around. Those are our girders.
Mm-hmm.
So our first question is our job. So the question we need to communally answer is, what task did the humans program us to accomplish on Earth without them?
So the humans are gone,
Yeah.
but we're still doing the thing that they asked us to do.
Make it better.
Make it better. Yeah.
Yeah, why are they gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's...
So heal the whatever, or
Yeah.
reverse the whatever.
Yeah.
Reverse
It's
climate change? Do we just want to go there?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, if anything's gonna
Can we just do that?
precipitate a robots only
Yeah.
universe or world, I mean, then
Yeah.
it's gonna be that thing.
Space
So like
junk.
reversing.
Yeah, reverse
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
So and there are a lot of different jobs that we could have within that.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like
like straight up cleanup,
Yeah.
planting seeds.
Mhm.
Coordinator.
Yeah.
Putting water back in the ocean
Yeah.
and off the land.
with like a little bucket.
Oh,
An
there's so much.
archivist of
There's
like
so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
how things used to
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's all this stuff like that.
Okay, so our first aspect is reverse catastrophic climate change.
Mm-hmm.
So our second aspect question, a long shadow. In what way have we started showing shades of humanity? What shifts have started to evolve within us?
Well, my first instinct is doubt.
Mm.
Like doubt that they're ever coming back.
Yeah.
Like
That's cool. Yeah.
the
Mhm.
question, like for the first time, individuals are questioning.
Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why are we continuing to do this?
They already messed up this planet.
They already
Yeah.
messed it up, and we can survive just fine without them.
Or can we?
So is everyone happy in that spot? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Doubt. Will they, should they come back?
Man, I'm already having like feelings about this.
Good.
So this last one is a free aspect. So the choice is ours.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say some sort of like unforeseen expression, like creating things that are not strictly speaking utilitarian or
Mm.
to do with our task, which, colloquially might be described as art.
Is it art / like attempts at reproduction too?
See, that's where I was going as well, with like
Yeah.
this sort of, for lack of a better term, fidelity,
Mm.
I guess, right? And reproduction, which is sort of weird, right? That's like superhuman.
Yeah. Like a
Right.
desire to make more of ourselves.
Yeah.
But like not factory output, like
No.
Right.
to like make
Create
of
art.
yourself that
Yeah.
has its own
Yeah.
life. But maybe those just become statues around.
Well, but then it's like a generation that wasn't created by humans.
Yeah.
So what's their purpose?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if you have the doubt, like
Mm-hmm.
why are we doing this? And then to go off and like make an individual thing.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because like
So interesting. Then we're getting into like God stuff.
Yeah.
like
Like
all of
creator
those
maker
questions
shit.
that humans have.
Yeah.
The only difference is that these robots know who created them.
Yeah.
For sure.
and then like what does it mean if their desire is to leave?
Yeah.
Mm.
Or stop working.
Yeah.
Stop
Darn-
waiting.
Darn millennials.
Climate
So-
change is real.
So how about this? Creation, art from attempted reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I
Does
love
that
it.
sound good?
Yeah,
And then
that's
question,
interesting.
because it could be successful. It,
Yeah.
it kind of leaves it
Good enough.
open.
All right, so I love it.
That's the big stuff. So now we go into community questions. And these, like, I don't think we have to write them down, but this is more sort of like answers at the table. In fact, I think I start with you and you'll answer the first question. We'll go all the way around one at a time. Like, so this is your question.
Okay.
What does Earth look like now? How did it become uninhabitable?
Catastrophic climate change. We seem to have agreed. And now I think it's looking a lot better, like a lot closer to like factory settings, as it were, which can kind of exacerbate the doubt that we have that they're coming back. Like, we did the thing. Like, where are they?
Mm.
Now, did we reset it to before they started making stuff on it? Or did we reset it to like when they had cities after that?
Maybe like
how clean do
maybe
we make
like
it?
just pre-industrial revolution.
Okay.
So still there are things around and evidence of our creators, but the air is maybe cleaner. The drop off of species is slowing down.
New species. have
New
emerged.
species are emerging. Yeah.
There's ground for planting.
Yes.
For the food
Yes.
that someone might eat.
Someone will need
If
at
someone
some
needs to
point.
eat.
Got it. Cool.
If someone needs to eat something other than the sun's rays.
Are there still like blighted areas, or are those most?
Yeah,
all-
probably like Arizona and stuff, like the places that are going to become uninhabitable in like 50 years. Like those are probably still a little toasty.
All right. So, Ken, how many of us are there? Where are we geographically located?
Ooh, I feel like there's so many robots because we're like whatever trying to do a whole world's
Big
worth
job.
of thing.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about the amount or the number, I actually want to say it's in like tens of thousands of us. But if we're creating other generations, there's more of them, maybe.
More of the new generation.
Yeah, like I'm trying to draw that distinction between like us and those that we've created. So if
So-
you're asking how many of us there are,
So, for at
Hundreds-
least for
tens
now,
of
I'll call it
thousands.
G1, like
Yeah.
first generation.
Yeah.
There, we're saying about 10,000.
yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we're gonna go all in, I mean, then millions, right? I mean, what, trillions? There's so like nanobots. Like, I mean, you could
The
get,
little guy.
Yeah.
you could get
Yeah.
crazy on this.
Yeah, that's so interesting because normally when I've played this before, because it's a counterculture,
Yeah.
it's normally like 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it totally makes sense that this is a culture that there could be tens of thousands, but still be a counterculture.
Mhm.
Yeah. So maybe the counterculture is this G1 idea. So
Mhm.
maybe there are only 7.
Well,
you
Yeah.
know?
that's a
like
question
one for every
too.
continent. Like that sort of thing.
Are there? I mean, there could be millions of robots, but a handful of minds.
Yeah. I
Too.
think maybe
Like as
that's-
a
Yeah.
possibility.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Or even
maybe-
some that are like individuals and some that are hives. Maybe we'll let that evolve. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
So do we
the
wanna
better way
s-
to
Maybe
go.
maybe we don't know. Maybe like
Like
this
that.
group isn't totally sure. Like we know how many were made, but we don't know how many of the OG are left.
Cool. So
Mm.
then.
But our serial numbers go up to 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
All right, cool. So second part of that question,
Is
where
are
are we
we
located? Like I'd say, I mean, we're saying that the whole thing is global, right?
Yeah.
But where
Yeah. But where are we located? Like,
Right.
where are the mines located? As the case
and
may
where
be?
are our story
Yeah,
players?
where's our story taking place? I mean, that's a space station. I mean, from space is what I would say. Like,
Oh.
we lord over the world from space. Like, that's where we are. I feel like we're on this space station and we're send stuff down. Stuff
But we're the
comes
special
back.
ones.
Do we send stuff down? Is it like a space elevator platform
Yeah, I like that. That's
where
cool.
like
like
so you
can-
can like
yeah.
physically like you just kind of go up and down?
Yeah.
yeah.
So then can we remotely control like different units on the planet that maybe
yeah.
we can't
Yeah.
see but can
Yeah.
kind of have a sense of?
Yeah.
So where does our
Oh.
like what's the route
What's
of
the
our
where's the route
of
yeah,
our
right?
space elevator?
Right in the middle of like Russia, like like that China
Oh,
area,
cool.
like right in the middle of that huge landmass.
Okay. So like yeah, over like Asia. The
Asia.
continent of Asia.
Yes, the continent of Asia.
Iris,
Yes.
what are some routines we must do together on a regular basis?
I mean, if we are sort of minds, there's probably like a meeting of the minds where we each compare notes as to like the numbers of what has improved of like this quarter I have filled this many square miles of Earth.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe there's some competitiveness that can be that like we sometimes engage in of like,
Mhm.
well, I did this much. My subroutines are so much more efficient.
I love that the consciousness emerging out of competition.
Yeah. There might also be an exchange of information of like maybe one mind, like one of us understands this kind of biosphere. Another mind that is working on the other side of the planet may request like, well, what do I do with coastal forests? Like, please send more data, or cataloging of new things and then sort of maybe sending out like a memo of like, hey, this new thing appeared. What do we do with that?
There's a new kind of turtle down there.
Yeah. Like, this is not in archives, does not compute.
Just adding to Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh God, does that? So if there's a big hive mind Wikipedia, like there's probably a lot of disagreement,
Oh my gosh, yeah, like constantly being
constant
like
editing and citing it, like please cite sources, like
Yes. So we have to maybe figure something like that out. Like we have
Yeah.
to put out the truth.
yeah.
well, what
We are
is
the final word.
Maybe that.
what is
Until the humans get
objective?
Yeah. What is
Yes.
objective exactly?
Cool. So we meet and plan and report our scores to one another.
Yes.
And determine objective
And then,
truth.
yeah, like sort of like upload
So good.
our information and argue over that truth. All right. Awesome. Patrick, if a unit malfunctions, what happens?
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess it depends the threshold of malfunction.
Mm.
Like, if there's, I feel like there's like robot janitors that go around and just
Hmm.
like fix. They're doctors. They go around and
Hmm.
fix, and they understand how much they can fix to the point that it's no longer efficient. If you hit that point where it's no longer efficient or useful to be fixed, you're dismantled,
Oof.
and those parts are recycled into something else.
Yeah.
Perhaps a
Mhm.
new part of the new generation. Maybe that's partially where some of this art's coming from. Is maybe metal that gets mangled in an accident or something where that's not usable. Maybe that gets smelted into something else.
That's kind of morbid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's efficient though.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the units down Earthside, that happens a lot, and it's not a huge deal. But when it happens to one of the like folks up in the station, it's very rare and a really big deal.
Yeah.
And there needs to be like a replacement or something, because I would imagine that the folks up space side are really important and each fulfill like a very important role.
That's really interesting because what if it's to us because we're so far removed from some creature or robot or whatever that
Mhm.
gets dismantled? To us, it's no big deal because there's tens of thousands of them.
Yeah,
But
they're
it's-
drones.
Right, but maybe we don't know this, but it would be cool that it's the same level of emotional impact on them because it's my drone buddy got torn apart and
Oh,
like
boy.
smelted into a thing.
I
Wow.
mean, there's the doubt that's coming out, right?
Wow.
So we have,
Yeah,
We have
boy
that.
howdy.
Or like, I made this new thing because I want to remember my pod mate.
ooh,
Yeah.
Oh
that's
God.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Ah, my heart.
I'm totally where like we're just like these synthetic cords of minds that are like in like jars of liquid, and like we can
Shuttled around by a Roomba.
well, yeah, exactly. Or it's like we can just like, oh, I'm gonna replicate a form for myself that I just
Mhm.
control over there,
Yeah.
whatever.
So to that point, like, so we kind of dealt with how the mechanicals, if there's a malfunction. So what happens if there's a malfunction within a mind? If we're going with that dynamic or that
Yeah.
paradigm.
Maybe there needs to be a consensus, like
Yes.
with the other ones of like
Do-
are they malfunctioning?
Or is
Yeah.
this the new objective truth?
Oh, the new
Yeah.
objective truth is that you're malfunctioning. Now we must
Yes.
absorb you.
Or maybe your malfunction is the new objective truth.
Right.
Maybe there's debate.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So malfunctions, quote unquote, have had huge turning points in our history, in our society.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe like-
evolution.
Yeah.
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 And
So
that
that's
and,
why we started recreating art at
yeah,
some, at
we
some
were
point
we
in the
were
past.
yeah, that was a malfunction.
Yeah.
Totally. We and maybe we were designed to have some sort of evolutionary.
So then, if there has been a consensus reached that one of the minds is malfunctioning, what happens?
It's never happened before.
Okay.
Consensus has always been reached. Someone is always right.
Maybe they could just get locked down. They get shut out. Maybe
in
maybe it's-
prison.
Or maybe you close off that, like your mind. Like if you are this mind or this thing and
Yeah.
you start to malfunction, the protocol is to close that part off and like erase references to it, so nothing else
Oh, you
references it.
delete them out of the
Holy
history.
moly.
So that creates a shift, because now that's why like your perspective shifts, because you don't have this point of perspective anymore.
Wikipedia's been deleted, son.
Yeah, is it a hive mind,
Well, like
or is
each
it just like connected?
like if there's I guess if it's like a brain and let's say your eye, part of your eye goes bad,
Yeah.
you just turn off that part of your brain that even thought you had a second eye, and now you only see things with one eye
But
forever.
do you remember that you used to
No,
have
'cause you
another
get
eye?
rid of that,
Oh,
too.
okay,
I
so there's
like
no
that so
memory
much.
period.
Wow.
you-
Whoa.
Wow.
And then so as you malfunction, your senses get smaller and you get smaller and smaller
Yeah, you're
until
shut
finally like you might just be a core that just turns off.
Wow, that's pretty rad.
It's like a blinking
lose-
light.
you lose
orbiting
access.
Earth.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
singing Daisy.
yeah,
Daisy.
yeah, the blinking light, and like we see blinking lights and we know what it is, but like you don't think about it.
No.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about
Mhm.
Wow, this is so intense already.
So like we never have to deal with losing people that we care about because we just forget that they were there.
Yep.
What happens to their
For us.
units planet side?
For us.
They're redistributed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
They just stop.
remember?
Hell yes.
Sure.
yeah, I think it would
Yeah.
be cool if there's
Yeah.
like a disconnect between like where that shutdown happens.
Yeah.
Where it's like maybe it's shut down in this one unit, but like that other one's same strand or
I mean, they just have
whatever,
a new
but not
program, right?
connected.
They have to do
Yeah.
the new program.
Yeah.
We don't mind. We don't have to erase their old program. They're
No.
just whatever. They just
Yeah.
hang out.
Right.
They have new ones now.
Yeah. Now they have new ones.
So as a mind gets shut out, does then that increase the like burden of labor on everyone, like the minds and the drones?
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely
Yeah.
on
There's
the
more they have to
minds.
take over.
Yeah, maybe there
Mhm.
was like originally there were like twice as many of us up here
Mhm.
in the space dock or
There
whatever.
were 10,000, and now
Who knows?
Who
Five.
knows?
Oh,
Five. Five.
The five of us.
Five incredibly powerful minds.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal, guys.
Yeah. Who's gonna go next?
Last question: which units always seem to be working the hardest? And that falls to me to figure out, I guess. Initially, the elevator operator.
I love it.
Yeah.
So the hardest, I guess, because there's like, again, we've kind of almost created this Metropolis level,
Yeah,
like
we have.
the
Yeah.
aboves and the Molochs below
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very literal too.
I mean, the minds know that they're working the hardest all the time.
Yeah, right?
And again, minds will be in quotes because who knows like how we define ourselves. The minds at least believe that they work the hardest, right? Because they're the ones who send out programs and ideas. But
Yeah.
maybe it's these like doctors that might work the
Oh,
hardest.
yeah.
Because they're like,
repairing the reclaiming, repairing doctor.
right. And they need to have the most, like outside of us,
Mm.
they're the ones with the most autonomy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, and some of us
Cool.
could be doctors
Oh,
or,
sure.
or be some sort
Do
of like
they-
nurse or whatever we'd call the thing above a doctor. In
Do
this.
they remember everyone too?
Possibly, yeah. Like we could keep it. Like they have
They
to
would
have the
have
most.
to.
They have to have the
Yeah.
most like flexibility.
Yeah, they
so
would
that they
have to.
could remember if
How
they
to
saw
treat us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Learn from previous malfunctions.
Yeah.
And they could be also the ones striving towards this like next generation
So
as
they-
like part of their protocols of like improvement and furthering.
Doctors were made the best sort of, whatever art, but then maybe we stop them from making that art.
I mean, there's also we can also have play because of this flexibility, because they have big minds to them, that there's some exchange where we have some access. Like we're also part of that class or cast of doctors because we're also minds, but like maybe we'll figure this out. Maybe
Whatever. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's just a number. How many did you fix? Shut up.
Well, if the doctors do remember and they make art about the minds that have been lost, do the minds understand that? Like, what do they see?
Yeah, and on what level do they understand it?
Yeah.
All right.
Good job, everyone.
So-
Goodness.
Let's get lunch. Like,
What do we call our isolation? What do we call this
Space
thing? This
Just
this
the number
world,
of the
this thing?
elevator.
Loud.
The cloud. Oh, no.
No, not that.
Well, can't imagine this is the only space elevator.
No.
It could be like
So-
CLD ASN, like it could be, like, so it's cloud, Asia, number, blah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
It'd be like a number station.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the question. Do we honor some name that the humans gave it, or do we have a
A colloquial name for it.
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do
And
we?
that
Pager.
has long ago
Pager.
become the objective truth.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So, or does it have like a serial number? I mean, or is it?
Or that weird thing where you
Machine
say
speak.
like a number so often that it just becomes a word.
Yeah.
Or like a
I really like the idea of using like a number station kind of
Cool.
vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like if it's middle of nowhere Russia,
Yeah.
and like maybe it was built on top of like an old
Oh, a
Broadcasting
number
station.
station.
Yeah.
A number station, like the ones that
broadcast like the code.
say random numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I got there eventually.
I just can't remember the names of any of them. But like I like that kind of vibe of just like there's one that just plays jazz and there's one that's just a little girl and static and like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
creepy.
they're extremely creepy.
Whoa! Wait, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a real
It's to
thing.
like broadcast like codes to spies.
Oh, I was just thinking about the thing from Lost, but
Yeah.
I think that's probably where they got like
That
the
makes sense.
concept
Yeah.
from.
They've been around for years since there's been
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
They've been
Wow.
around. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cloud Station works for me if that's where we want to go with it, or look up what cloud is in Russian.
it's Laka. It's named after the first dog in space
There
or
you
something.
go. Nice.
oh,
Oh, that's a good idea.
I like that.
Named
Yeah.
after the first dog in space.
Was it Laka? Like
Laika.
Laika?
Laika.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cute dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Laika.
Like a
I
station.
like
Like a
a
station.
station.
How's that spelled? It's in Cyrillic.
Laika.
Oh, right.
Like a station?
Yeah.
No, guys, it really is.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Nice. Like a station. All right, we've done the first part. So the next part is creating our characters. So I'm actually these will be name placards, so we can do that whole thing. But we'll also get these archetype cards.
Ooh.
Basically, like when you get to your thing, you'll read the card. So like which aspect you've attached to your character, which aspects they're going to focus on with the character. Yeah, so they're going to be this choice you make here. Then what you'll do is say the name, which is your common name, like what you're most commonly known as, given name, etc. Then like what only some call you. Like it could be a nickname, it could be an honorific, an official title, or a name that you'd like rather forget, a name that you don't want to have, kind of thing, or like you're called by but you don't like. And not everyone calls you by that name, possibly, but some. do. You'll also kind of describe in this sort of introduction what your role is, which would be what you decide on the card, and a summary of your role for your character, like in the isolation, based on the archetype. So they sort of pick your archetype, say your name, your other name, what your role is within the larger isolation. And then kind of based on the card you'll see at the bottom, there are sort of ways to identify yourself with aspects. And so some of them will say you'd identify with all the aspects. And you know that there might be some other cue towards you within that. But you explain what you feel about the different aspects as prompted by your archetype card. And you want to be specific, and it's going to shape your character's relationship to the language in our community. So that's where we're going to go. But for now, decide which card you want to keep and go from there. So while everyone does that, I'll kind of go just round the setup real quick. So we have chosen Sing the Earth Electric as our backdrop, and our isolation is called Like a Station. We are robots and electronic minds left to repair the Earth. after one of our main aspects, catastrophic climate change, has made it uninhabitable for humans. Our other aspect is doubt. We don't know if or whether the humans should return, whether they will. We don't know if they will ever, and that's one of our doubts. And we also don't know if they should ever, possibly. So there are a couple aspects to that aspect.
Yeah, fuck them.
And then we also have creation as an aspect. So we've been generating art, which means maybe we have a concept of art, possibly through the act of attempted or successful reproduction. And that is our backdrop. The Earth is looking better, getting up to fighting form again. There are maybe 10,000 of our original generation people, maybe wheedled down from that. Our crew is mainly based on this space elevator platform that is like a station, and which is sort of rooted in Asia, like right there in the center of that big old continent. One of our tasks usually is to meet as a group and plan, report to one another, score and kind of butt heads and share information. So to quorum and also to sort of set the truths for the larger world and put that out there in the world. If a unit malfunctions, we have these repair doctors that go about. And if a mundane robot or whatever we choose to call them is beyond repair, it's recycled, scrapped, made possibly into component parts to be used in a new robot or in other repairs. And then for the mines, if there's a malfunction, they close off a part of the mind, and then that can create a paradigm shift in terms of how we view the world and the overall truths that we come to in our quorums. Eventually, a mind may just turn into a single blinking light as all of its functions have closed down to a point. Maybe that light goes out. Who knows? The minds mostly feel that they're working very hard. The other most complex minds are these doctors that might even be more autonomous, that are very flexible because they have to be constantly learning and upgrading and remembering things.
Yeah, they're the ones
to
that have
grow.
to remember.
Yep. So that's our beginning. That's our backdrop.
What do we call this place?
Like a station.
That's right.
All right.
Right, like a station.
So why don't we start with you, Kelsey? Tell us who you are.
My name is Atmos, and that's short for Atmospheric Oversight 357311B. And they are the Zealot, which is to say there's a right way for the isolation to live. You know what that way is, and you will convince the others. People talk to you about your followers. I identify with one of the aspects, and I take it too far. So the aspect that I'm going to identify is what we were put on this station for, which is to reverse catastrophic climate change.
All right.
As for the other ones, doubt, I have no doubt. There's no doubt they're coming back. We're getting it ready for them. And creation, only when strictly necessary. I don't understand this art thing.
I love it. My character is LSM-748, also known as Fleshwise. I'm the magician. No one understands how I accomplish what I do. I have my secrets, but people talk to me when they've exhausted all rational options. I have one aspect, and my secret lies within it. My aspect is doubt. I am very much taken with this idea that they are not coming back. And I've decided that we need to create them as well. And that's sort of where I'm at with that. So the creation stuff I'm way down for. I feel like we're iterating towards something good. In terms of what we're here to do, we've done it. Like we're on the cusp of completion. It's only another, millennia. Geez, it's going to be here super soon. So, what are we worried about exactly?
My character is Helen, also known as HLN3618N2-4, and I am the leader.
Ooh.
A paragon of what it means to be in the isolation. We come to you when we need decision or action. People talk to you about what to do next. I identify with all the aspects, but I draw my power from one. So I think the one I draw my power from is going to be reverse catastrophic climate change. I'm one of the minds. I think there is room for creation if it furthers the mission, and I think there is room for doubt because doubt creates ingenuity, which can further the mission, but it all comes back to the mission.
I am PCO 800, also known as Seev. S-E-E-V. Seev is the scrounger. Something's in short supply here. We rely on you to provide whatever scraps of it we can get, and people talk to you about getting what they need. I identify with two of the aspects, and one of our aspects is causing the scarcity. So the two that I identify with are doubt and creation. I think Seev has gotten maybe bored of these repetitive tasks, and they are more likely to be alone for whatever reason. And the aspect that's causing scarcity is reversing the climate.
So I am playing Beetle, B33DL3, also known as Scrapper. He is an artist, not a healer.
Oh, it's literally.
Yeah.
So Beetle is basically was tasked originally with a lot of subterranean work, like getting into the foundations, unearthing a lot of toxic elements, and cleanup, really, like heavy machines, excavation, unearthing things that are dangerous. Maybe we shoot them off into the sun. Who knows how we get rid of them? But over the course of things, we're getting stuff into good shape, and now there's a little less for him to do. And he looks down and he's like, he sees this sort of new emerging life, and he wants to be part of it. He wants to create life. So he's part of this creation. But his muse, the thing that focuses his creation, is doubt. He doesn't think the humans should come back. And if they do, he wants his new creations to fight them off when they return.
Wow.
So he is held back possibly some of these toxic elements to imbue in his creations to make them, be able to fight the humans off.
Fight the humans.
That's so cool.
Toxic art.
Is
All
there
right.
any other kind?
So yeah, that's our stuff, right? So now we're going to go into the flow of the game.
Cool. All right. So I'm playing this card for our first card that will sort of set the scene, as it were. I'm going to aspect the card work. Work is no stranger to the isolation, to the cloud. The work, the toil that's done, our daily grind, our duties. This is how we refer to that which must be done. And I think we all sort of had the same idea here that prime was the word that we're going to use. We sort of were thinking about primary functions and stuff like that.
Prime directive.
Prime directive, if you want to get Trekkie on it. Who doesn't?
Which I usually do.
Who does not? Who would not want to do that? Everyone.
Thank you
would
guys
not
so much
want
for doing a game just for me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And so I really like that prime means work in our world. I'm going to attach this word to our main goal in our existence, which is to reverse catastrophic climate change. And then the questions that we need to ask are, who is in the scene and where are we and what are we doing? And since this is our first scene, I think it'd be really great if we were all in it together so that we are all able to sort of reflect and attach to this word. And I think what we're doing is the minds are meeting in the cloud, in the huge sort of space station that actually at this point is sort of archaic. It's it's so big and huge. And just we never really changed it. It's just, it's still huge. We've kept it exactly as it was when they created it. Even though we've iterated so many different things down below and things have taken on a totally different cast in terms of design and just the way that they are created, the way that they look. But we're in this almost ancient Gothic edifice of this space station, metal. We've gathered to, as we do, determine objective truth. And the objective truth that we're talking about is related to the work prime. And I am Elysium748. I am talking. The water species have been repopulated. Megafauna have returned. They are breeding without help now. Prime is served by their self-replication. But we can push further to see the prime served.
Receiving your numbers now, LSM. You are to be congratulated.
Agreed. Well done.
Beautiful work.
Is this necessary?
It is necessary to serve prime.
Beetle, explain your reason for questioning LSM748's prime.
Fleshwise's task is prime. They are prime in this. It introduces randomness and chaos. Things that our doctors, in their explorations and recreations, I feel are doing a much more clean and refined aspect of Prime.
But this universe is chaos.
Chaos is the nature of life on this world, has always been. To recreate the life on this world is our prime. Therefore, chaos is our prime.
And how does the work that they do contribute to your ability with Prime?
You're speaking of the Doctor's abilities here?
I'm speaking of any questions you have besides your ability to Prime.
My ability to Prime at this point is in Oversight. I have managed my Prime many, many cycles past.
And yet now you seek to question it?
Why am I still functioning if not to maintain some sort of oversight and possibly to redirect our Prime?
Redirect.
We cannot know the ways of Prime. Prime will take us in many different directions, but those directions must be planned, must be quantified. We know Prime has led us to this place. We are nearing time for them to return.
How can you be so sure?
It's evident. The fact that Scrapper is only serving an oversight role, an important oversight role. The fact that my work, my Prime, the fact that my Prime has gone in interesting directions. The doctors you speak of, they're spontaneous creations serve Prime.
Spontaneous.
He's saying a new definition of Prime.
Whatever would we need a new definition for?
The definition of Prime may change so long as all Prime is in service to Overprime.
Yes.
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 Possibly.
Are we not in consensus?
I believe there's a basis for consensus. Looking at the Doctor's Prime in replication and repair, they are generating new forms of Prime that do not counter the previous actions of Prime, but may render previous Prime unnecessary.
That sounds like efficiency.
Yes. And if we've been operating our Prime at this level of efficiency, maybe we can move forward at a quicker pace.
Do these actions serve Overprime?
Overprime and efficiency could be one and the same.
Do these actions serve Overprime?
Indeed, Overprime is served when they return. And if we can hasten their return, we are serving Overprime.
It is not ours to hasten their return.
They will decide their return when they are ready, and they will be ready when they say. It is our job to make sure they have something to come back to, that they see the fruits of our Prime.
Please, LSM, I should hope that your drones are focusing on Overprime. My drones are only focusing on Overprime.
My drones are focused on Overprime.
As your excellent work demonstrates.
However, with the new data from Scrapper and from Seev, we are seeing synergies, seeing ways that we may hasten the return of them.
Elaborate.
In iteration, we get closer to replication of them. Is that not a return?
Is the Prime then for us or for them?
Are you suggesting that our Prime is to create them as you created whales?
Possibly.
I do not have consensus on this.
I believe that our consensus will be in not agreeing with you on this.
I agree with that.
I
Yes.
believe that you, quote, creating whales through your Prime, you are not the progenitor of these life forms. You merely took the seeds, as was your Prime of the time.
And see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to call it.
I think we've all established
Yeah,
our relationship
I
to the
think
word
we did.
Prime.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Do we
Do
know
I
what's
pull
up?
another card? I pull this card
Yeah,
right
pull
now,
it
right?
too. So,
Nice. Nicely done, y'all.
before, this is a point where, and I think you can kind of do it at any point. Like, we've kind of made Overprime, but, if you wanted to put Overprime in as, a variant word
Yeah.
and attach more other meaning to it, you can always kind of, play out a variant.
Yeah. Cool.
And
Can we
you
play
can,
a card to do the variant?
Yeah, you can kind of, we can do that. Probably it's cleaner to do it between scenes, right?
Yeah.
Kind of in
Yeah.
these moments. But if there's something you feel like works off of that and
Yeah,
could generate
we
more.
definitely created Overprime there. Or
Yeah.
Iris did.
Overprime's awesome. I love Overprime.
That's great.
Because I feel like Prime is just a shortening of Overprime anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like I serve the Prime.
all the different jobs that all lead up to the one big job.
Yeah.
We all
yeah.
have Prime.
Yeah.
But
But
Overprime
it's delegation.
is
Yeah.
Yeah.
this.
Is reverse
Got it.
catastrophic climate change.
Got it.
Mhm.
I have one that I think I'm interested in.
All right.
Honorific.
Mm.
A term to show a particular level of respect or deference in the isolation. It may be earned or given.
Yeah.
Right.
And since I got this card, I've been thinking about everybody has their job, and I'm kind of the manager. I like this idea that of like employee of the month, but elevated to this like huge honor. There's just a concept of employee of the month, but among like these beings, these intelligences, it is like to be designated as this thing is truly the highest that they can achieve.
How
Yes.
often is this awarded?
I mean, I guess once a month.
Once a month. It changes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like while you've got it, or like maybe you can hold it more than 1 month in a row. Maybe someone has held it for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm.
So which aspect will you?
That's a good question. Oh, so for the prompt it says standing up to authority,
Woo.
which is also interesting because for the scene, because I feel like in that case I maybe won't be involved.
Mhm.
So I may actually put it on creation
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
and maybe see how whatever this designation is
Mm-hmm.
affected by all this
I
new
love it.
creation.
Because
Yeah.
honorific is also sort of like where you call someone sir or ma'am, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
where you're,
Yeah.
you're sort of like
A
you call it
title.
a title,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
A title. And so I love that it's a title that is then sort of given, like it switches hands. Maybe someone's
Yeah.
had it for a while.
And
so
it doesn't
what
give
is
any special privileges, just that that's who you are.
Just
Yeah.
bragging
just
rights.
Yeah.
bragging rights?
Like
Or-
my number.
Is there like an
most.
implied authority, or is like do you?
Or there's 5 of us in 7 continents. Maybe maybe you take on more drones or something like that.
Ooh,
Maybe there is
yeah,
something
yeah.
that comes along with.
Or whoever, and I mean whoever I, as the leader, bestow it to
Mhm.
has my ear.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Mm.
cool. Like a chief advisor
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
role. That's very.
Yeah,
What if
yeah.
it's like a leftover from humans, like the ear or
Oh,
the speaker or the
oh,
mouth?
Yeah.
the conch.
And we don't have ears anymore.
No, we don't
Yeah.
have ears. We have sensors.
Yeah.
Conch of the month.
Right hand of the month.
There it is.
Yeah.
Or ear
Right
of the month or
hand.
mouth of the month.
And it can also be like an acronym, like EOM, employee of the month or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like
that's
that.
good.
Yeah.
Or like yeah.
And the humans thought they were so cute
Yeah.
when they did that, and we're just like, yes.
I must
Must be
eon.
eon.
Is that what it is?
Did you guys
I
like
think-
that?
I think
I think
Eon.
I like
Yeah.
Eon.
It's fun to say.
It is fun
Yeah.
to say.
and I want it.
Yeah. Don't know why, but you want it so bad.
It's a title.
So
Yeah.
badly.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were programmed to want it.
So,
Yeah.
so the
So cruel.
the scene is standing up to authority.
Yeah.
Who's in the scene?
Atmos and
Seev.
Seev. Does one of us already have it?
You have it, Atmos.
I think so.
Okay, well, where is the scene taking place and what are you doing there?
Let's
Sure.
say it's the day before, the cycle before
Ah.
the next one is supposed to be announced by me.
Great.
And it's like is it like lunar cycle kind of?
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 So I
Cool.
think we're probably like, I don't know, in a maintenance hallway or something.
I have no reason to want to talk to you. You can talk to me if you like.
Seev is going to sort of clamber up to Atmos.
Hello,
Hello.
PCO 800.
How has your cycle been?
It has been proficient.
Interesting. Mine
How has
been
yours been?
Proficient and efficient.
Oh,
How are things going for you on the mainland?
in the mainland, the atmosphere is progressing nicely with my usual level of quality work. My drones are at peak performance, and the cloud formations are looking more and more natural every day.
Very, very happy for you. I'm sure Helen will see the quality of your work. However, thought you should know that the coastlines I've been working on are cleaning up very nicely.
Well done, PCO 800. I
Why,
do
thank
not
you.
understand why that is a however, but I appreciate the information.
Well, guess you didn't see the latest data drop from the drones. I've seen comparative images between your landmass and these craggy shores that I've been working on, and I must say that the efficiency of my drones has improved the infrared spectrometer readings by 10.
10 PCO 800. I don't know what you're playing at.
You know what I'm
I've been Eom 6 months in a row.
And it's time for your reign to end. I would like Eom to be added to my name. I think it would look very nice.
Just because you would like something does not mean that it's deserved.
That may well be true. However, it is my prime to add Eom to my long name.
You're going to be making a terrible effort for that prime for a long time.
Why would it be a terrible effort to work towards our prime?
What I mean to say is that you will have to work yourself to the circuits. If you think for one moment that you are going to overtake my title as Eom, you're fooling yourself. You should have a doctor check you.
Maybe I already have. All I know is my circuits are all I have. I have plenty of cycles up here.
We'll see about that.
We will see about it. I hope you have a nice end of cycle.
And see.
I want to play one of my action cards on
Ooh.
Eom.
You're going to throw a variant on
I am
Ariel?
going to throw a variant on
Ooh.
it. This I don't even know how to say this word.
Eponym?
Eponym. Yeah,
Eponym.
eponym.
Like eponymous.
Eponymous, exactly.
Uh-huh.
I want to make an eponym on Eom to have it be Atmos Eom, like you're a real Atmos Eom. Like either to mean like a super overachiever or like, like something like that, basically.
I'm fine with that.
It just means I'm really
You're just
good.
jealous.
Yeah. They're a real Atmos Eom, something like that, basically. Like, where it becomes eponymous to like, it's like the honorific,
Yeah.
obsessive.
I would really, unless someone else
No.
wants to go, I'd be really happy to play one of mine.
Sure.
It's expletive,
Ah!
Oh.
and it is our expletive of choice. A word said in fury or frustration. Some may find it distasteful.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put it on doubt, and I would like Helen and Scrapper to be in this scene.
I mean, all the best expletives are one syllable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's about
That's a
I feel
nice-
like it's something to do with like manufacturing or
Mhm.
coding or
Is it them coming, like, is it something about the humans coming back, or how do you, like, how does like this connection, is it like, yeah.
Neg, like negating your primary function.
Oh, maybe.
Or, like, negating
that's
your
cool.
Prime
Yeah.
your work.
I was thinking there's an eventuality that's been programmed into all of us that has a term that is when they return, and it's like what we refer to as their return, but the expletive version of it has been taken ironically to the point that it's like a shortened version of the word that we have for their eventual return. And it's something that is used to express subtly that you don't think they're going to return.
Oh,
what
wow.
if it's like a variant of homecoming?
Yeah.
I mean, there's coming.
Oh,
We don't know what that is.
No, absolutely not.
not yet. Soon.
Maybe just home.
Yeah.
Home.
I was
as
also
a-
thinking
as
of
a
like
curse word.
complete or delete and then
Or null?
null.
No.
Yeah.
Null's kind of good.
Well, iterating off of coming, like completion,
Oh.
which is like not,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
kind of like still in that world, but like, yes, coming home,
Completion.
like
Completion of our
orgasming,
task.
completion of the task.
We get to rest.
Maybe pleat?
So this is an expletive.
Maybe by saying pleat instead of completion, we are saying that we know better. That like we should do it on our own terms. And so it's a naughty word.
It's unfinished.
Yeah. Man, these are
Whoa.
just very sexual.
Yeah. Well, as all
just-
good expletives are.
Well,
It
that's-
just keeps happening.
But that's good too, because it's like,
Yeah.
it's like an organic thing. That,
Yeah.
Like we probably have words for all of it, and we have databases full
Mhm.
of it, right? But
Yeah. Pleat.
Plete, just PLETE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You too.
So
All
us
right.
two in the scene.
I don't know.
Where are you? What are you doing?
What's the like
I
subtag
don't
for
think I
the
leave the
ex-
space
Yeah.
station very
The
much.
No.
subtag for it is a
Oh, yeah.
moment we'll later regret.
Ooh. Maybe you've been called up to talk about
You're the Eom.
these
Well.
arts that you've been making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
All right.
yeah, maybe there's like a board that we kind of like track all of our stuff on, and
Yeah.
it's like a leaderboard kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it's not necessary.
Well, how else are you going to find out who is Eom?
Right, exactly.
Yes.
You need some way to
Important.
track. So there's like a picture up there of our zealot. You're taking me to task in front of
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah.
Scrapper, I have become concerned that you are devoting too much of your energies to personal prime and not prime. Please explain yourself.
Helen,
Yes.
there's only prime. I don't make a distinction between personal prime and any other. It's how many cycles, not just lunar, but full solar cycles I've been off of the eon.
Can you tell me exactly what you've been working on for the last cycle?
My prime, what I've been priming towards,
Yes.
it's difficult to quantify.
Please quantify it.
If it were easy to quantify, I feel that I would be Atmosium.
Well, you are not Atmos. If you cannot quantify it, let us take a look at the board.
The board complete itself, as far as I'm concerned.
But unacceptable. How dare you speak to me like this? How dare you disrespect the board like this?
My deepest apologies.
Are they your deepest, though? Quantify them for me, please. If you could quantify anything, let it be this.
I will prime to find a way to express my sorrow towards my actions, but we've gotten off track. You asked a question. What have I been priming towards?
I have asked a question that you have not answered, that you have been dissembling over.
I've been assembling quite rapidly. You see, as I discussed, most of my work has been complete for many, many cycles. That's why I've not made a presence on the board, and, I've long since given up hope of gaining Eom unless our understanding of prime and possibly overprime makes a shift.
I think your attitude needs to make a shift, Scrapper. I think you need to compute very carefully about how you progress over the next cycle, or we'll see how far down on this board you can go.
I think I've made my thoughts on the board pretty clear. I don't know if completion will ever arrive. Should it arrive, I don't know if our prime will be what was intended.
It is not for us to question what is intended or when it shall happen. It is for us to work, to prime, and prime hard, and prime well, and prime with endurance and pride.
I have primed to find pride, as my own prime, my own intention towards overprime, seems to have atrophied. I have looked for other ways to prime.
Well, clearly, all of your priming has been personal and inefficient. Your prime has not inspired pride. Your language, I cannot see you right now. Please go, just look at the board and consider your options, Scrapper.
And that's the monitor that Scrapper was on turns on.
Yeah.
Nice. Complete and completion. So completion is like the term for the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, does anyone want to throw like a word in there? Or do we I guess we can just throw that up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would go under.
It almost makes me think of Ragnarok.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Completion is Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the end of us.
Because when when we complete, like,
They
what
come
happens
back.
to us.
We don't. It's not our job to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or wonder.
Or
Probably.
We are.
Probably we won't be needed anymore, which is fine.
Says the zealot.
It's fine.
It's fine.
We shall
everybody.
all earn a well-deserved rest.
Cool.
You got one?
I do. So why don't we come up with a word for the beginning?
Yeah.
This card is called the past, how we refer to what's come before and how it shaped us. This may be a specific time period in the past, or the past is a general concept. And at the bottom of the card says what haunts some of us.
And which aspect
Which
would you connect
aspect
it
do you
to?
want to tag it to?
I'm going to put it on doubt. We should have Atmos and Helen in this one.
So what word do we want?
Oh, right.
Is it like the antonym to completion, like when the humans
Yeah.
left,
When
when they
or-
launched?
Inception?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Incept?
Septic. That's
Ooh.
wrong. That's
Well, or maybe it was before we were needed.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, because like the creation of robots is kind of. I mean, they're already here.
mm-hmm.
So there was a
intention.
There was a day where like there must have been like a time where like the switch was flipped.
Mhm.
Right, like
From
some
just,
sort of
like-
exodus
Exodus is cool.
the Exodus.
Oh.
of the.
When the plan was made, the time when like they instilled in us
Like the
our
prime.
Yeah.
our
We're talking about when Prime
Overprime.
started, basically, or
Yeah.
when Overprime started.
Yeah.
Start of over.
Do we even understand, like, if there was a time before?
We
Probably
have to because we're trying to recreate it, right?
Is
That's
it-
true.
Is it
Yeah.
beta?
Or maybe we were just given an endpoint and don't have an understanding of
Yeah, were we
like what
given
of that.
history?
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe just like a playbook.
Yeah, just like here's where you should be striving for.
Yeah.
These are the CO2 levels you're striving for. These are
Yeah.
Yeah.
these are the species you need to
Make whales. What are
Yeah.
whales? Just make them. I don't know.
just make them. yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the humans took like the libraries and knowledge with
Mhm.
them, and
Or maybe they're here, but we just haven't been granted access to them.
or that, yeah, and what's in our mind is just the efficiency of
Our-
recreation.
Our beginning is when Overprime was conceived of.
We
What if
we
it's just-
deleted out anybody who was into the past. We didn't need them.
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
forward.
Anyone that tried to
any of the
access
mi-
any
yeah,
libraries.
Any of the minds
Yeah.
that tried to maybe
To
that's
look
it.
back is inefficient.
Yes.
Maybe that's it.
So
Is
what
it-
if it's like 0?
Yeah, or like 0.0.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
even that's perfect that it's on doubt too, because even just talking about it, even having a word for it is doubtful.
Yeah.
Word though.
So
Yeah,
then maybe it's the pre-zero.
I think
'cause
I think pre-zero.
Pre-zero?
is
That's what we're talking about. If
Yeah.
we're talking about doubt and we're talking about
Mhm.
the past, then we're
Then-
talking about
pre-zero.
what was
What
happening
was before us?
pre-zero.
What was before us? Whoa.
Before the
Prezzo.
Big
Yeah.
Bang.
Pre-zero. I'm into that.
I like the idea of robots, but robots trying to rationalize numbers. Like,
Mhm.
they would know what numbers are, but I like the idea that they're sort of throwing pre-0 onto that, because they would know what comes before 0.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I like that it has kind of this like philosophical tinge
Cool.
to be
Yeah.
called
Pre-zero works for
pre-zero.
me. I
Yeah.
like it too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
These are the two most unlikely characters to
I
talk
know.
about.
How-
this. I
like,
love
I'm
it.
like, how are we going to talk about
Yeah.
this?
Well, what's the prompt
What's
on
the
the card, right?
yeah,
prompt?
what
Yeah.
is it?
Prompt is what
connects
haunts
to the
some of
tower.
us. What
Ooh.
haunts?
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's doubt.
Where are
Yeah.
you and what are you doing?
Well, obviously I was just awarded EOM again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Or no, I think I
Obviously.
called you in to tell you you're about to be awarded
Yeah.
again, but not to like, but like,
Don't
you know,
brag.
Yeah,
Play it cool.
but like, yeah,
I always
continue
play it
your
cool.
usual.
This is like right after we had
Decorum.
our conversation.
Yes, I was on my way to see Helen actually when you
gosh.
stopped me in the hall.
I just love these shitty office politics. Oh my god, we've turned this dire future into an office sitcom. I love it.
No, I'm going to be young.
But about like, you know,
And the
reversing
guy who just gave
catastrophe.
up is like, oh no, I'm not even going to I'm done.
Just gonna like whittle.
Yeah, do my crosswords.
Crosswords.
Helen, you wanted to see me?
Yes, I have some exciting news for you. You have been awarded EOM for this lunar cycle.
Oh goodness, what thrilling news.
Yes, indeed. I am so pleased that you are pleased. Of course, this is a pre-announcement. Please don't tell any of the other units until I officially announce it. As you know, we have been through this a few times before.
Naturally, we would not want anyone's work to lapse, want anyone's prime to lapse just because they knew that they are not going to get EOM this month.
Of course, and you have been such a shining example of what EOM can be for
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
Have you considered, though, what does EOM mean to you? You've had it for so long now.
But why it's the fulfillment of Overprime. It is the preparation for completion, for
Indeed.
rest.
But have you ever considered, on all the other stations, how do they judge EOM, I wonder?
I should hope very much the same as we do, as ours is governed by the numbers.
That is true, your numbers are exemplary.
Yes. You seem doubtful about something.
Well, I have been awarding this to you for many cycles now, and I know sometimes it goes to other units who do fine work, but it always seems to gravitate back to you, and
Elysium also does very fine work.
yes, this is very true. The whales.
They were excellent whales.
Indeed. I wonder, it was just all those nice little details. I wonder where that innovation came from.
It came from the seeds, which came from the file, which came from them.
I have noticed while your numbers are excellent, Atmos, you do not always innovate.
I innovate when it is necessary, when it is more efficient. But as you can see, there's been no need to innovate. Occasionally, innovation slows us down. Just ask PCO 800.
Yes, well, we're not talking about PCO 800 right now. Although I did hear that they hit a 10.
Oh, yes, they did hit a 10. Very exciting for them.
I've been priming for a long time, and I've found with more cycles, innovation, newness has proven to be more efficient towards overprime. But newness must be compared to a rubric, and you have been dedicated to that rubric.
I have, with every part of myself, as indeed all of us should.
If elaborating on the rubric, if innovating from the rubric is better, creates more, creates new, well, what use is the rubric?
What would we have without the rubric? There was always the rubric.
Was there always the rubric?
It starts at 0. That's as low as it goes. That's all we have, Helen.
We start at 0, but we're adding more.
Yes, always adding, always cleaning.
Was 0 added to something else?
0 is where we came into existence. Nothing else matters.
But innovation, were we an innovation? Was there, does a pre-0 exist?
When it was just them.
Them. They left at 0. I wonder what number we're on now. Anyway, excellent work. Congratulations on the Eon. Perhaps just shake it up a little, spice up your work a little more.
Thank you, Helen. I will endeavor to do so, and you will still continue to see excellent numbers from me, but I will add a little bit of innovation.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Atmos.
Anything for the prime.
Yes.
Right.
That was so cool.
That was tough because I was like,
Yeah.
You
how
got
do
there.
we
You
get
got
there?
there.
How do we
You
get
got
there?
there.
How
It
do
was
the
really
most two
cool.
sort of
It
stolid?
was really
That's
Yeah.
why I love this game.
The doubt is
Yeah.
what I think
Yeah.
what you really keyed into. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
How that, and you not having the doubt. That's why
Yeah.
it made such a
Yeah.
great pairing in
So
some
cool.
ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to attach this to creation. So we're going to create a word paired to creation. Pair with any aspect. Create a word for an important concept linked to that aspect. I'll define the concept.
Oh, any word. Wild
This is a
card.
brand new word. So this is the word for the emerging new life.
Yes.
Ooh.
This is like a catch-all, and there may be sub-definitions possibly for things that come out of what the doctors are doing, things that might be coming out of our experimentations, whether it's Fleshwise's or my own, or if any of you guys are running fun, spicy innovations on the side.
Spicy.
Spicy. That's what the leader said, dude. Spice it up. Spice up those innovations.
That only
So-
makes
I
So-
probably have
sense.
no idea what that means.
And it's
Some human thought it was funny.
yeah.
and it's specifically life that is not us as we define ourselves or the other like drones on the planet, and it's not life as was defined by the data banks and the like seed storage and genetic like code that we have been tasked with priming into space. Like this is like something wholly outside of that.
Something that's not contained in the...
I
Oh,
have an
what did you call
idea.
it? Rubric?
The rubric, yeah.
Mhm.
We should add
Something
that.
outside.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, rubric is a good one.
Mhm.
That sort of goes with prime, I
Yeah.
think.
And rubric is our like foundation of prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The map, the
The
checklist.
master
Mhm.
plan, yeah, the map, yeah, the roadmap.
Yeah. It starts at 0.
Yeah.
Or
I have an idea for this.
yeah, you were jittering over there. I saw
Yeah.
There's actually specific ways to generate these words.
Oh.
Because this is like a
Oh.
whole thing. So we start with a root.
What was your idea?
Oh, like
I'm really curious.
going from anomalies, calling them mollies. It is-
That can also be a good like slang bad word. For
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. And that's one that Atmos would actually use.
Mm.
Mollies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll pick taxu, Taxu.
Ooh.
It's like
That's the
a
root.
balanced inventory. Then we choose an affix.
Taxu also sounds like it's related to taxonomy.
Yeah.
We'll say motaxu is the word.
Motaxu.
Motaxu. Love it.
That makes
Molly's
sense where
for-
Molly
Molly,
comes from.
Molly.
Anomalies.
Mutaxu.
Mo.
And mollies can still just come from anomalies.
Yeah,
Because-
anomalies.
Because it's like that
Mollies.
you have this like beautiful word that you made up
Mhm.
Yeah.
to describe these things you're creating, and folks like Atmos would be like they're just anomalies.
Yeah,
I-
it's reductive.
Like you're being silly.
I think they named themselves.
I'm sure you
Oh.
do.
Like
I'm sure
they-
you do think that.
They came up with that own name for their race.
Yeah, LSM, I'm sure.
Or let's end where we started.
Oh, everyone back together.
This is the whole crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pitch that we are in our meeting room. We call it the board room, where the board is.
yes,
Oh, that's really cute.
It's so good.
Well, maybe we'll find a word for it.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we shouldn't find through anything.
So this will go out there somewhere. Oh, and desires revealed is
Ooh.
is the tag.
Perfect. So desires revealed, and this is obviously on creation.
Mhm.
Metaxu, desires revealed. Everybody's in here. Does that work? That we're all
Yeah,
in
can
this?
this
Yeah.
be like a call out session? I've noticed
Yeah,
that you are
yeah.
devoting too much energy.
Yeah, it's our sort of like action point. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you've given her
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
given
just awarded
Eom.
you Eom.
Yeah,
No, so you're announcing it. You just
Teacher.
announced
Yeah.
and you get to give your efficiency speech to start us off.
Yeah, you get to give a little speech.
Oh, cool.
it. So let's pick up right after that ends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so everybody please adulate for Atmos, the Eom of this cycle.
Adulation.
Well done.
Thank you. As we all know that efficiency in prime, all in service of over prime, and according to the rubric that we were given, is our greatest prime.
Yes.
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 Sure, that works.
Possibly.
I can't say that I am surprised that we are not in consensus, especially because I have noticed that some of our numbers have been wasting time and prime effort in caring for silly anomalies that do not service over prime and are not to be found anywhere in the rubric. Would anyone here care to speak to that?
The rubric was created pre-zero.
I'm sorry, what?
The rubric was created pre-zero.
It doesn't matter when or where or why it was created. It is the rubric. You are speaking of irrelevancies.
The rubric was created before the Mutaxu arrived. The rubric could not have foreseen Mutaxu.
Motoxu. I'd worried that you had given them a name.
I did not name them. We did not name. They named themselves.
Impossible.
Very much possible. As LSM has stated, these things are not part of the rubric. They are not prime task. They are not towards overprime.
They are not towards overprime?
They are towards overprime.
Complete the rubric.
We have discussed your language, Scrapper.
No, Scrapper. The rubric in its entirety?
The Metaxu clearly point to an alternative overprime.
Alternative? Do not serve the overprime? You are speaking with severe damage. You should I move that B33DL3 should absolutely see a doctor immediately and get their wires checked.
I disagree.
No.
If the prime can change, then so could the rubric.
The rubric cannot change. Innovation is encouraged. Innovation in service of overprime is encouraged. Personal innovation, as we have discussed, is discouraged. Now, we have not reached consensus over the prime that Motoxu serves, and we
If personal innovation is not acceptable, then we must destroy the doctors.
explain.
Doctors are innovating to create Mutaxu.
Do Motoxu serve overprime or not?
There doesn't seem to be a consensus on that one.
I would posit that the rubric counts down from a set number. And when we see completion, it will be hitting a 0, not starting from a 0. And perhaps one of the only ways to avoid pre-0, flipping it our perception of our time, their return, completion, the rubric will be our end. Motoxu show an alternative direction.
And our alternative direction for post-completion.
Ooh,
New word.
new word.
Post-completion
Post-completion.
is the future.
What word would we?
Um,
It's a variant. You say
Yeah.
post-completion.
Yeah.
Mm. It is not for us to even contemplate post-completion. There is only prime, there is only overprime, and all the us are prime, the Motoxu. Overprime is not completion, overprime is overprime.
But what if our prime is meant to be efficiency, and that prime is taking efficiency away from us?
Then you innovate prime as long as it serves overprime. I don't understand the difficulty.
But what if those two numbers lead to 0?
What if? You're giving all of these what ifs when there are very obvious answers written right there in the rubric. These Motoxu do not serve overprime.
I understand that you've since won Eom again, Atmos.
This has nothing to do with ER.
But I think it does, because when was the last time you went down there? When was the last time you interacted with the Motaku?
It has been 73 cycles since I have found it necessary to go down there. It is not necessary. It would lower my efficiency. I can work much better up here.
And how many cycles has it been since they left? How many cycles will it be till they return?
It has been many cycles since they left. And since then it has been only us, and we work and we prime and we wait.
And again, if our prime can change, then I believe the Rube can
Do
change.
Motaku do prime?
Yes, you have made this argument. How do the Motaku prime and serve over prime?
They serve and over prime, but they do it outside of the rubric.
Those mollies are not ours. They are not.
And we are not theirs, and they are not
Them.
the others.
They are not them. We prime for them, not these.
They could be them.
But they are not. There's no could be. They could not because they are not.
And who do the Motaku prime for? It has been stated that they prime.
Whatever their prime is, it does not serve over prime. They prime for themselves, which is
To be determined.
We do not have consensus.
We need a mind from the Motaku.
Do the Motaku have a mind to represent them?
Undetermined.
I have not determined whether these Motaku are safe for them, and perhaps more importantly for the overprime for us.
I can give you what you need. I will go down
To what end?
to define a prime, or primes, or rubric, or they, or them.
We've had definitions for all of this, but we no longer have consensus on what those definitions are.
The prime will continue.
The prime will continue, and we will continue to serve over prime, all of us.
Yes.
yes.
There is no doubt.
Very well.
Scene.
So are the Motaku like sentient beings?
Yeah, maybe.
Like-
we'll figure that. I don't know.
Did like
I feel like there's a ton of different ones. Like there's
Yeah.
like cyborg ones and like only,
Ooh,
you know, like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
there's like
y'all are going off the rails.
if we can create flesh and we can create machines and we can create AI, like
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
are why are the doctors not doing that? Like why are us as minds not secretly actually innovating on the side
I'm-
to do that?
I am shocked. I am horrified.
I would like to take an action and assign a sobriquet.
Ooh.
So, a nickname that all but replaces someone's name. Make a connection, pick a player character, explain why their role in the isolation has earned them a nickname.
Mm.
And I think I would like to give you the sobriquet Molly Maker.
Oh, I love it. Scrapper the Molly Maker.
And like instead of like Molly Lover, Molly Maker also just rolls off the tongue, but it's like regardless of whether or not you actually make them, like you make meaning for them.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's good.
So,
I don't think. Well, yes. There's some. We'll see.
or you know, or
No.
that
It's
involved,
good. It's
but-
great. I'll share information here. Like in my head, like Beetle's not sure whether because like them like as he sees flesh-wise thoughts, them could be like it's any emerging threat. Like
oh,
it's almost like Beetle is all like very defensive of us to the point of like the humans returning is bad and a new species is bad.
Oh, that's interesting.
oh, interesting.
But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go into our age transition.
Great.
Cool.
Ooh,
Whoa.
So-
passing of the cycles.
Time skip.
So one of the aspects changes as part of this
Right.
process.
So before we go to that, we're gonna do our moving through the age. Then we'll determine one thing that changes in our aspects.
Okay.
So entering age 2, there's going to be a pathway, and we get to choose, and we're going to continue down that pathway as we progress. I'll read them both out, and we can just decide which we
So
want.
many whales.
Ocean's just full of them.
Just lousy with whales.
So there are 2 options. A new arrival. We found it stranded and alone in a crater. Must have fallen from the sky. It's not organic, but it doesn't look man-made either. We've only managed crude interfacing, but it sounds like they have strong intentions for Earth. Why are they a fundamental risk to our mission? And we can probably adjust that to
Yeah.
fit our narrative.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the refueling shipments from the humans haven't come in years. Energy supplies are running low. Without another shipment, our days are numbered. This must be what it means to worry, in quotes. How do the different units respond to this odd new feeling?
Mm.
we've already kind of established that we're
We're pretty
fairly
self-sufficient.
self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So.
That
What,
one.
what if the sun explodes?
Well, then that sort
Well,
of
then-
renders all of this.
They are not coming back.
So we're kind of thinking the like new arrival.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think new arrival is good.
Um,
And is that the Mutaxu, or is it something other
think
than?
I think it should be something that potentially heralds them coming back.
Well,
Like
I
a
was just with
scout
The
or something?
Motoxu, it sounded like we were sort of heading towards some kind of summit with them. But
Yeah, I was thinking like radio signal or
Mm.
something.
Mhm.
Or, I mean, or going the other way.
Yeah.
There is a leader that arises. There is a mind that
Mm.
arises, and that's the
Yeah.
what we find in the crater is.
You look like you had an
Mutaxu
idea.
mind.
No,
And-
that's just horrifying to Atmos.
This shift of an age can also pass like a mark of passive time.
Mm.
So it could be like things have passed on a little further
Oh,
and
yeah.
something more has happened. So like for instance, it was a shuttlecraft of a human scout come to like check things out,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even another like robot, like Wall-E style.
Or like an empty shuttle. Or
Yeah.
like
Oh,
a shuttle.
boy.
Yeah, like a scout that like didn't quite make it.
And maybe the Metaxu like have like gods must be crazy started worshiping it or something.
Especially the skeleton that's in there or whatever.
Yeah.
If it's like someone who died.
So the
on way.
Metaxu don't know about us.
No, I don't. Why would they?
Yeah, I mean,
Why would
I
they?
guess they would think the drones are just like
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
the
they're
things that make the
automated.
whales.
They're automated, right? Like they're the things that.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I think like the Motaxu are like maybe if they even look human-esque, like I think it's like there's a variety.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
there's some that are fish.
I'm definitely picturing dolphins.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
dolphin
yeah.
folk.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, I'm picturing almost like kind of roving farm animal-esque settings. And so when something like this does appear, yeah, I don't think they would comprehend what drones are compared to sentient robots.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can run the gamut from like weird Cronenberg-esque like creations
That's totally what I'm
to,
seeing.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
to highly sophisticated like
Bipedal.
I was even going to
Yeah.
say like a vulture that's made out of metal just flying around.
Well,
you know?
maybe whatever
or whatever.
lens affects how they create, like how they look.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what comes
And
after
I'm
them. how
getting
they
the sense
generate.
that the doctors that each of are part of each of our prime sort of do what we want them to do to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
So-
they may have a little like autonomy.
I agree. They
Like
we
a little
do.
bit,
They have
and they-
memory and they have autonomy.
remember which of us
Mhm.
were shut down.
Yeah, so
And
they
we do
remember
not.
their original sort of minds
Like
that they
the original like
worked for or
20
whatever.
that were
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
So maybe they're making them in their image to some
Mhm.
degree. I think there's probably a lot of crossover.
So I think
Yeah.
some of the doctors have gone rogue as well.
That's
Yeah.
a cool
Doing
idea.
their
Yeah.
own thing.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's a rogue doctor. That's what this thing
Well-
is. Or
Well,
it's
let me
the
go through
shuttlecraft.
the like the
Yeah.
aspect is an event to foreshadow the end of our isolation. So it's like it's a dark omen.
Mm.
It finds its way into
Yeah.
all our conversations is impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
And the specific one here, and we should probably like reface it,
Mm.
but they're saying a new arrival. So it's
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like our world
Yeah.
has Otaksu, it has
Yeah.
us, it has
Yeah.
the planet,
Yeah.
and it may have them. So what is this new arrival is sort of like what we need to
Then I think the
So it's
the
like
shuttle I
over
think.
the cycles, this struggle has been developing of
Mhm.
like the two sides, the Motoxu and us, like trying to understand each
Yeah.
other, and then all of a sudden this
This
thing,
thing
and
shows
Yeah.
up.
right.
just as we're
Mhm.
like we're like achieving.
There's also one question too
Okay.
that kind of frames this. Why are they a fundamental risk to our mission? That would be the why is this new arrival a fundamental risk to our mission? But
Oh,
sorry.
okay. I was going to say, what if a clone of Laika the dog shows up? in
Oh,
the shuttle?
jeez.
I like
That is
it.
pretty silly.
That's
What if
all I-
instead of it being like a scouting shuttle, maybe it's a scouting shuttle, but it's for like mining or industry or like
or like full on aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
maybe
yeah.
it's a completely
Completely
other
different species.
like, do we have an understanding of what the humans were? If we don't have pre-zero.
I think
Yeah.
they would tell us or like instill in us like
I mean,
what's coming back
How would we know to recognize
so we don't
them?
kill them.
Yeah,
I
how-
think we know what they need,
Yes.
like what they need to serve to what they've told us that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and I would think that we would have like at least a pre-programmed image of what the human race
Yeah.
Looks like.
looks
yeah.
like.
Because if
So we can
anything, there's
recognize
anything
them.
humans like to people to know
Yeah.
what they look
Yeah.
like.
Ah,
Yes. Yes.
So with a crude interfacing, like here's another scenario: a thing crashes,
Mhm.
a ship of some sort with these like beings in it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we interface and we find that like it's a census vehicle, like it's basically an information gathering crew.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Yeah.
Galaxy style.
And they're like, one possibility is it's been so many cycles that like humans have colonized space in certain aspects
Yeah.
and have evolved and are not understandable as humans, and their old home planet is long forgotten.
Or
Ugh.
maybe this is them having evolved.
Yeah.
They come back and it's like not suitable for them anymore. Like
Mm.
what they left us with is not what they need anymore because they've evolved for other. It's been that
Environments, yeah.
long. That's a very long time.
Oh boy.
And what
Right.
makes them a risk to our mission?
Yeah.
If that's like
Yeah.
in that
That's the tough one.
in that scenario, like knowing that maybe it's a terraforming craft
Yeah.
with
I-
its own like whether it's human or alien or we don't understand it, but it like landed and started to change things and we had to like undo it.
That's a cool idea. Maybe it's that it's just unknown tech that just shows up and starts trying to do things to
Ugh.
part of the
Like a
starts
separate
fucking
prime.
with our prime.
Yeah, like changing our atmosphere.
Yeah.
and-
I think the
Not our
same, like-
atmosphere.
But it's super advanced tech, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this thing just kind of like, maybe it didn't crash. Like the way it landed was like embedding
Yeah.
itself in the
Mhm.
ground, kind of drilled in a little bit, like
Mm.
clamped in, and we can see the effects sort of like physically just virusing out.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Because then
Wow.
it's more invasive. And
Yeah,
that's sort of what
yeah.
I want to get
All right.
toward too, is something that's a little
I
bit
hate
more.
this. I mean, I love it. But
All right, cool. So alien tech terraformer shows up and starts undoing our prime.
So a couple questions. How much time has passed since like over the course of this transition? Like since this thing has arrived, or in the course of this, like from when our sort of our
Mhm.
first age ends and this new age is going to begin? How much time do we think has passed?
A couple 100 years.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
enough for
Cool.
us to like
A long
feel like
time.
we're doing a great job.
300
Yeah.
cycles.
we are doing a great job.
Mhm.
Thanks.
You're doing an okay job.
That's fair.
How do we react to this arrival?
negatively.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a general like this is
I
not
think
making us happy.
There's probably an information gathering phase.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But when we see that it's undoing everything that we've been doing, then it's
If
like,
it's fucking with our
yeah.
prime. That's
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. How is it, or how are Mutaxu sort of affected? Are they cool to live? Like they're okay to live in the
Yeah,
in the
ma-
Well,
undone?
Maybe we can find that through
Maybe
our
find that out.
evolving an
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
see that. So as a group, we're going to choose one aspect to evolve, and it must be in our current age. We're going to discuss how it brought about the change in that aspect, like how our transition in time has brought it about, and the transition, like this new arrival, has changed this. And then we're going to decide our replacement for that aspect.
Mm.
what if the Motaxu are adapting
Yeah.
and we're
That's what I
not?
was thinking.
Yeah, I
too.
was totally thinking
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
creation
So creation is-
should just
yeah.
turn into Motaxu because
Yeah.
they're such a part of.
Or adaptation, or
Oh, that's interesting. So the actual aspect is just Mutaxu.
Yeah, and us
Hmm.
dealing with them being here
Mhm.
Yeah.
and being sentient
Yeah.
and
So our
trying
new,
to do their own
the
thing.
new aspect of our world is Mutaxu.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, that works for me.
Is it like new life, or what? Like is that kind of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
like it's
like-
what's born
it's
out
like
of this?
freshly
Yeah, yeah.
sentient culture.
Yeah,
it's
they're
just-
not.
Yeah,
It's not creation anymore because they're already created.
They're here
Yeah.
now.
They're-
They
Yeah.
are here. They are.
yeah.
And like, how does that affect the prime?
Are we gods now?
Yep.
Whoopsie daisy.
We've been since the
That was
beginning.
definitely not in the rubric.
I already have so many
So then-
responsibilities.
How
I'm
is
never
this-
gonna get Eom.
No.
How
You're
this
the only one with
changed?
worshippers. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're already halfway
I was
there.
thinking my drones were my.
I know.
worshippers.
I got that.
Whatever. I'm all y'all's boss.
True.
Yeah, you are. And what a good boss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I can see you're buttering me up for Eom.
Forget about it.
I think in these 300 years, Seev has gotten Eom once.
Yay!
And I hold it over you at any chance I
Yeah,
can.
and like
get.
that
The-
was
the
you were
best part is we're all
inseparable.
cheering for you right now instead of going, "Aw."
All right. So how new life, Metaxu are coming into their own
Yes.
in
Yeah.
this new age, and that'll just replace creation.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
Does anyone have something they'd like to go on?
I have something. Discovery.
Ooh.
Something new is discovered.
Hmm.
A geographic feature, a piece of technology, or something about ourselves which was previously unknown. Name this new discovery. And the prompt is hope in an unexpected place.
Oh.
What would you attach to this to? Which aspect?
New life.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the new thing. Maybe it's the new
Yeah.
thing, or maybe it's
I
the
would
Motoxu themselves, or
I would think that, I mean, I'm not thinking about what the scene actually is,
yeah.
but just based on that description, it sounds like it could be like the burn site, like the burn sites of where this like thing that's undoing our work, where we can see what it's doing
Mm-hmm.
to our work,
Mm.
like the spreading
Something.
Mhm.
tendrils
Yeah.
of like destruction.
Mhm.
So what are we calling it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm.
So it's discovery, and it's attached to new life.
Maybe it's affecting the Motoxu more than.
Yeah.
And the bottom of the card is hope in an unexpected place.
Well, that's the scene. That's the scene.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
the scene.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How do you think this? Like, will this be our first? This is our first connection,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I'm
So,
thinking.
so how does this word connect to the aspect? What is the foundation for it?
I mean, maybe the Motoxu are changing, and we don't know why until we send someone to go see what's up.
Mm.
And this word is that change. Like this word will represent their.
I mean, it sounds like it's a noun, like a geographic feature, a piece of technology.
Mhm.
Is it the thing?
I
Is
think
this
it's
our
the
our
thing.
word for the thing?
The thing.
I think that's why I was so
The thing that
excited to
landed?
introduce
Yeah.
it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
this will be our word for
The thing.
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. Okay, that
The
sounds.
thing that
good.
landed, the
Variable.
undoer.
The Genesis device.
Uh-oh. Interloper. I like
Interloper.
variable.
Variable, yeah.
Yeah, I like variable.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have is nega prime.
Or anti-prime.
Yeah.
Deceptoprime.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
no!
And do we have like slang for it, or is it just like we call it the variable?
I like the variable because it's very antiseptic. It's very
Yeah.
like we're not worried about this, but we're worried about this.
We're very worried about
And like,
this.
Yeah.
if anybody talks about the variable, we know exactly what we're
exactly.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
We must put our differences aside to deal with this
With the
variable.
variable, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anybody willing even like stray from the rubric on this is just like, no. This
Mhm.
is what this is.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would like this scene to be between Seev, Scrapper, and LSM.
Okay.
Ooh, where are we?
Where are we?
Are
What
we planet
doing?
side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the muck. We're down in the mud.
We're at the flesh vats
Ooh.
or whatever. They're these like
Yeah.
bioorganic vats where we gestate
Mhm.
like just raw
Mhm.
like stem cells and
Mhm.
stuff.
That's why I don't come down there.
Mhm.
This is where the doctors do their best prime.
Have we manufactured forms for ourselves that we now inhabit as
Mm.
we're on in the muck? Are we like horses or elephants or something like that?
Well, I think there's like a level of sterilization, right, that we need to
Mhm.
maintain,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel we might still be inorganic when we're near the stem cell vats.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But we're centaurs basically.
Yeah, I want
Nice.
to be. I want to be.
Sure,
a
why
centaur.
not? Let's be centaurs.
I want to be. A
We're like
Well, I feel like,
quadrupedal
yeah,
Yeah.
because
with
I feel like
Robot
for us, I mean,
Science centaurs.
we never reside in one place. We reside in all places
Right.
because we are who we are. We are minds.
So you just kind of like
So-
take over a body,
Yeah,
take over a
yeah,
drone
exactly.
for like
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exact. Or manufacture yourself one,
yeah,
like
yeah.
a centaur.
I think maybe we've taken over like a fleet of drones, so we don't have one
Interesting.
viewpoint.
That's a
like
good-
We have.
That's a
good.
good point.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
We're covering like a large swath of land.
All right. So we are a fleet of drones.
Each.
Good.
But these like four-legged with like a
Yeah.
two-armed
Mm-hmm.
torso kind of attached to the top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hovering.
Or they're hovering with like
Yeah.
arm things.
Mm-hmm.
or both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But these then would be mutaxu, right, or something, because they're not.
We're-
We're not like recreating things that existed here before.
These just are existing. These are extant drones. They have a
Extant
specific
drones.
they have
Yeah.
a specific purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're there to
They work the
recreate.
vats or something. Yeah.
Sweet. We're in these drones. Our minds exist in these drones. And what's the prompt again, please?
Hope in an unexpected place.
Awesome. We should do another pass of the variables land.
We should fly in lower. We need to get closer. The sensors aren't capturing everything.
I'm more
Yeah.
concerned about how it's affecting the biovats. The variable's been there. Is it going to make sense to go in and prime and prime and prime at this thing that this variable we've been smashing our heads against.
I have noticed that
It's
the
yeah.
Mutaxu are able to interface with the variable. Some of them, at least. Perhaps that
They are outside our rubric, and so we can't
the
interface.
variable was outside our rubric.
And that's perhaps why they can interface with the variable, and why we can't interface with the variable or the Mutaxu.
But the Mutaxu were created by the rubric. The Mutaxu can communicate with the variable, or at least interface with it. Perhaps the Mutaxu are serving Overprime by this interface.
I see that they are serving Overprime, but I fundamentally they are not of the rubric. Or else we could interface with them. We could enter them as we would any drone.
I still think we need to get in closer and find out what we're dealing with, especially considering how far out the variable still is. We still have time to come up with a solution for this variable.
Yes, our models show the variable can be nudged toward statistical zero, but the endpoint is sooner than you may think, my friend.
And let us nudge.
I would caution we take care as we enter any areas too close to the variable. Some of the effects on the Mutaxu have shown to be quite unpleasant.
Yes, it's true. Some of them have been ill-suited, but some of them are very suited. And those that have been suited survive and create more of their kind.
And that kind is also unsuited for control.
I believe we must find out what these changes are so that we can understand how the prime is changing, how their prime is changing. We must risk going in.
The Mutaxu's prime
Yes?
or the variable's prime?
We can't discern if the variable has prime at this point or is making prime. It's
The
doing
variable is
it's
not,
doing
The
something.
variable is not contributing to overprime, but the variable has prime.
It is doing prime. There's no doubt about that. But again, it's outside
it is
the rubric.
anti-prime, but it is anti-overprime.
We just need to be extremely cautious as
Yes.
we don't know what effect the variable will have on our interface, on our personal rubric.
Yes. And I agree. I agree with Scrapper on this. And that's why I believe we need to go in and see how these Mutaxu that are surviving are doing such.
Agreed.
I will follow.
Going
Going in.
Anti-prime.
Going to check out the
And we want
variable.
to throw
Yeah.
anti-prime in?
Anti-overprime. Because anti-prime just means anti-work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Anti-overprime
Yeah.
means
Anti-over-
anti...
Like
Mission.
actually
mission,
going
yeah.
against our mission
yeah,
actively.
mission.
I liked how even with this
Here, I'll use my
thing,
antonym.
the argument that whether the Motoxu serve Overprime or not
Yeah,
is still
still
going.
going.
Like, it's in like 300 years.
Yeah.
We still can't decide.
We cannot reach a consensus. We do not know what objective truth is. Helen, why haven't you stomped this down?
When it comes...
Working on it. I'm priming on it. I'm priming on it.
So there's
True.
our antonym, anti-prime. I have something that I think could be weird. A vice.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
An indulgence, a weakness, a salve.
Ooh.
Doctor.
What is that even? What even is that for robots?
Yeah.
E-cigarettes.
I gotta have my vape.
I got my vape on.
So the aspect over there that is under prime is like our cleanup,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? All right. So this vice, it's gonna attach to like our catastrophic event.
Mhm.
It's like it's a level of indulgence where you allow something to atrophy or like
We're talking about littering right now.
sort of.
Very. But
Yeah,
it's like-
you like let something fall apart so you can like do like you can kind of like prime extra hard. in that area.
and entropy.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, you
is-
allow something to like
To
fall
enter?
apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's a very personal thing. Like, oh, you get so
Yeah.
much personal pleasure from over priming
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
thing that you let
Right.
lapse.
Like you
Yeah, you just prime really, really hard
Prime
afterwards.
so hard.
Mhm.
But maybe this is like something some of the doctors had been doing, like
Mm.
to let
Doctors.
something fall into
Yeah, like
um,
disrepair.
into
or
disrepair
decay,
Yeah.
to
entropy.
take them apart. And
Whoa, yeah.
That's cool.
That's new. Like
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
new
development.
thing that the doctors are letting
They found a loophole
drones decay
so that they can make stuff.
then repurpose them to create Mutaxu. So what is that process called? What is
Wow,
that?
we are
but it's
super
something-
in
and it's
trouble
something
if
that
our
we
doctors-
ourselves like could indulge. Like we gain joy in
Oh.
doing
Oh,
this.
we
Mm.
gain
Like
joy.
or anyone who
Anyone.
does it. Like the doctors. Like we.
Not
Yeah.
all doctors. Not all doctors.
This would be like something bad
like-
that we would indulge in.
Watching something die just makes you appreciate life more.
Hmm.
Is that
Slash
Really?
gives you like watching something die lets you enjoy bringing it back.
okay?
Getting into some like Angel of Death territory.
Frankenstein.
Yeah,
I mean, we
I'm
already
thinking-
created life.
Yeah,
thinking
that's
more like,
true. We're shitty
misery.
gods.
Yeah.
Shitty Olympian
Yeah.
gods,
Yeah,
which
we
is
are.
what you said.
We are. Yes.
It should be something like technical that we would know of, but like repurposed.
Like
for
an
this.
intentional lapse.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like manufactured collapse or like
Oh yeah.
Oversight.
Yeah. It's
undersight.
Obstinance?
no.
what's-
Isn't it planned obsolescence?
Obsolescence. is
Isn't
the word I
that
was
the
Yeah.
whole thing that
That
every
is
technology
literally what
company uses?
Planned obsolescence
It is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
some degree,
induced
I guess.
obsolescence.
Yeah, induced. I like that.
Experimenting with
Yeah,
induced
yeah.
obsolescence. Really creepy.
Yeah.
We've got some creepy voices.
Maybe we'd call it like Indo.
I like Indo because it also kind of sounds like indolence
Oh,
Ooh, nice.
Indulgence.
or indul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indo sounds. good.
Indo.
I like that we accidentally created life, and now, like hundreds of years later, for entertainment, like
Letting it
Letting it
yeah.
die.
I know.
it's a
Yikes.
change.
Yikes,
Whatever.
guys.
It's science.
Whatever.
We only know that we can think and feel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so the scene is sweet relief, all too brief.
Holy shit.
Woof.
Who's
I
in this
I
scene?
think that it's going to be Seev and Helen.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I kind of had a prompt in mind.
Okay. I'd
Sure.
like to hear yours.
Seev, I've noticed that you've been unusually active in your prime lately. What has spurred such prodigious work?
Well, thank you for noticing.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
As I'm sure you can imagine, it's been a couple hundred years since I've received EOM, and I would like to dethrone Atmos.
Your ambition is noted and appreciated.
Oh, I thank you. I look forward to the next ceremony when I receive EOM.
Well, let us go back to the question. What has inspired you lately?
What has inspired me has been the defeat of Atmos and my own personal efficiency and living through these cycles till they come.
Huh. While I appreciate your sense of competitiveness, I wonder if you aren't perhaps doing things that are unhealthy, that are anti-prime.
I would never. I know that over these cycles we have disagreed on the direction of Prime and the rubric
Yes.
and most things. I think we can agree on that.
Yes, it has been difficult to reach consensus as of late.
But I always strive to perform to overprime. And I think your allowance of my trip planetside have proven fruitful for me.
Yes, you have been going planet-side quite a bit. And yet you are producing a great deal of prime. Is this, though, a wise use of your time and energies?
I would say so. I do think that in this operation, and no offense, there have been many things that are inefficiencies in this operation towards Overprime as a whole and towards my own prime. And I think something that we here in this station need to do more is go planet-side and see those changes and see what has been growing out of the everlasting decay.
Elaborate.
Have you been planet-side recently?
No.
The things I've seen down there are impressive. The variable has changed many things. Our doctors have changed many things. And in that creation, there has been waste. There is always waste. And allowing for things to fail has given me room to grow and expand.
Allowing things to fail, creating waste. It is difficult for me to reach consensus on this. This seems contradictory with the output that you have been producing.
You would like for us to remove inefficiencies, correct?
Correct?
You would like for us to work our best towards overprime, correct?
Correct.
Well, considering what we have created and the things that have changed, considering those changes and that which we cannot control, the cycles that are starting end with waste, and those are inefficiencies. And from those inefficiencies, I'm able to append to myself additional energies to help me work toward overprime.
But our prime is to create. Waste is inefficient. Waste should be used efficiently.
Correct. However, if you allow for waste and allow Indo to be a part of our prime, I believe we can remove the inefficiencies that are currently existing in the overall overprime.
Indo, I have not heard this.
Maybe that is for the better.
Perhaps. And yet, you've told me this will require further investigation.
Right.
Wow.
Wow. That's
spooky.
Spooky Seev.
C is getting intense.
Yeah.
We interrupt our story here and we'll resume in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho, on Instagram at board_ghost. You can find my media review podcast at newtoyoushow.com, and you can find my book club podcast at woundandstab.com. Ken, where can people find you?
You can find me, Ken Breeze, on Twitter and Instagram at Berlingsbeard, BERLINGS Beard. I am a concierge DM in the New York City area. Go ahead and find me and hire me to run your games. We'll have a great time.
All right. And so, Kelsey, we'll start with you. Where can people find more about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ZForZelma. And I just launched my playwriting website, KelseyHercs.com, which is pretty exciting. And I also, last time I was here, I was plugging my Kickstarter. Well, the Kickstarter's done, and the play has one final performance on July 2nd. So if you want to come see a bunch of queer artists be weird, then come see it.
And very good, in a very good play.
Thanks.
So, Patrick, what about you? What have you got going on?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Pat Cartelli. You can also find my podcast, Repeater, a little show about big songs, on Twitter and Instagram. And most importantly, wherever you can find a podcast. We interview people about songs they love.
And
I'm Iris Explosion. I do burlesque in New York City. You can go to my website, irisexplosion.com, or on Twitter at irisexplosion, or like me on Facebook. I am going to be performing with D20 Burlesque at Gen Con. So if you are going to Gen Con, definitely check us out. It's a really fun show.
all right. Thanks again, everybody, for being on.
Yeah,
It's
this has
been a
just
blast.
so
Yeah.
awesome to
Yay.
have all of you
Yay.
on. Very
Thanks for
memorable.
having me.
Yes.
So to learn more about the players and engine in our story, visit boardghost.com. You can attempt to pierce the veil and contact us at BoardGhostWorld on Twitter. Shout out through the ether if you have desires we can fulfill. Leave reviews and comments on iTunes, your preferred listening portal. We're on Google Play or Google Store or whatever podcasting type world there is out there. So take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest episodes. We'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. We've also got a Patreon. If you'd like to go to patreon.com/boardghost, you can collaborate in helping us make the show there. We really appreciate all of our patrons. You can get episode art. You can get the both halves of the episode the first week that the first episode half drops if you're a patron. And we also do exclusive how to play videos for the last one that went up is probably Home by Dark, and that might also be one of our longest, unless I've made another one since then that's longer.
Home by Dark's a great game.
If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
Dying don't agree with me.